Hi, I'm Shaul. As photographers, amateurs, or even professionals, our biggest challenge these days is to create work that is unique, that cannot be created by anyone else. It used to be technical perfection, but for a long time now, the gear we use is adequate to give us good enough technical quality to not be distinguishable from anything else. In fact, even with a modern smartphone, you can create images that are indistinguishable to the layman from photos taken with the most expensive, more advanced technologies that are currently available in most situations. To create a unique body of work, you need something that is commonly called an unfair advantage. I don't like this term, unfair advantage, because to me, as an amateur, photography has never had anything to do with competition. Uh, I'm not a competitive person in nature. I like talking about collaboration rather than competition. However, for lack of a better term, I will stick to that. Unfair advantages can come from many sources, and I will try to break down the types of unfair advantage that are relevant to photography. I'll do it by an order of uh, significance. The first source of unfair advantage is access. Access does not only mean having a journalist card in your pocket that allows you physical access to events, to places that are not uh, available to the general public. Of course, it helps, like having an access to the backstage of a concert, or an access to a physical place where people can be photographed from a close distance instead of using a long telephoto. So you can become a participant of a situation rather than merely an observer. Access also means being able to understand a situation, a scene in a deeper, more involved manner than anyone else. For example, those who can read a weather map will be better landscape photographers than anyone else, because they can anticipate cloud formations, they can anticipate the light, how a landscape will be illuminated by the sun at a given time. Those who are familiar with animal behavior will make much better wildlife photographers, because they will have a better understanding of the rhythm of a mating ritual. Those of us who have a good attitude to people, who are confident enough, but also sensitive enough to understand a human situation evolving in front of our eyes. will be better in conveying the gist, the emotion of a street scene in a public place. They will perhaps be able to shoot from a shorter distance with a wider lens, offering some more emotion in the photograph. And it goes on and on. For each genre of photography, there are special fields of expertise that are really helpful in understanding the scene in front of our eyes, of being more clear about what we want to show the viewer, and being more focused. So Access might give you a clarity of purpose that will make you a more efficient photographer, a more focused one. And that will come through the images you create in a consistent manner. The second source of unfair advantage is your own voice, your own personality as a human being. Each of us have our own viewpoint, our own values, our own sense of rhythm that is based on our experience, on our upbringing, and our natural character and disposition. Those attributes are quite unique. Put three photographers in front of a scene, and each of them will come out with slightly different, each will have their own way of seeing that is not only dependent on the physical viewpoint, physical placement of the camera. It will depend on their personality too. If you let your intuition lead you when photographing, your work will be consistent. It doesn't mean it's going to be liked by everyone. It doesn't mean that you are better than anyone else. Some people will relate to your work, some will not. But at least your work will be characteristic to you. It will have a voice, a style, a meaning that is singular to the creator. The problem is, the more educated you are in the ways of photography, the more literate you become, the more diluted this individual voice becomes. Personally, I learned photography a long time before the internet. So my evolution as a photographer was made in isolation from the rest of the world. And my style was set independently of everyone else, of the memes and trends that plague the photographic community on the web. If you rely too much on inspiration from other photographers, on communities, on forums, your work will become generic, especially if you never had a chance to evolve on your own. As artists, we need a strong center. We need something we want to say, a unique viewpoint, a unique sense of values. Copying the work that we like, the aesthetics we appreciate, we want to adopt, will not make us unique photographers. But remaining fresh is a big challenge. For that, you need to be present in the scene. Forget everything else when you make a photo. And let the tools you use be an extension of yourself. Don't let them attract too much attention while you work, while you create photographs. Good familiarity with the tools you use is a prerequisite to that. You really need to be able to control the camera, the optics seamlessly, blindfolded. So they don't distract you from seeing. Sometimes I envy newcomers to this hobby of photography because they have a fresh eye, especially if they have a good, consistent photographic eye. And I encourage them not to learn too fast, to develop their own way of seeing, staying true to themselves. But most of the people cannot resist the temptation to create work that is more pleasing to the eye, aesthetically. And by that they might lose their personal, unique voice. The third source of unfair advantage is the understanding that optics matter. The lens is the first piece of instrumentation that is exposed to the light reflected from the scene. And the way it treats that light will have an impact on the look, on the appearance of the photograph. Lenses are the brushes that help us create the paintings. And choosing the correct lens for the job, for the genre, for the piece of art you want to create is crucial. It has to match your intention. If you try to make reproductions of existing art, you will probably want to use a certain type of lens that has a minimal impact on the appearance of that pre-made object. If you shoot wildlife or try to create a catalog of any type, you will want to use a neutral lens, something that will not have any intrinsic impact on the perception of the viewer. But for most cases, especially if you use the camera to document organic situations of living things, you will probably want a lens that preserves the three-dimensional appearance of the world, of the scene. something that will have some juice in it, some succulence, that will emphasize the three-dimensional structure of objects that are in front of the camera. You might think it is obvious, but the reality is that matching the right lens to your intention is an art that is almost lost. It requires good familiarity with lenses, with glass, with its characteristics, with its design perhaps. And the rate of new lenses appearing on the market means that this familiarity, this experience of using a piece of glass has become less common. The importance of glass in the eyes of most photographers has dwindled. People are more aware of the capabilities of their cameras, and they might forget that what really creates the character, the look of an image, is the glass in front of that sensor, or that piece of flat film. So knowing your glass, being able to anticipate its aesthetic effect on the photograph, on the perception of your work by the viewer, is an unfair advantage. The fourth source of unfair advantage is in post-processing, in taking the data created by the camera and passing it through some software to emphasize parts of the scene that should be focused on. The harmonization of contrast, of color, can make an image much more appealing to the viewer than what you get out of your camera, especially in RAW format. Some software can do really amazing things, like replacing pixels, like erasing unwanted objects from your photos. And the more know-how, the more prowess you have in what we call editing, the more pleasing your images might look. But this is a problem for me. I don't think a photograph should be corrected after the exposure has been made. I think your intention is best expressed at the time of exposure. Post-processing cannot replicate the emotion you went through when taking the photograph, your unique vision at the time. Putting too much trust in it will make the image inauthentic in some way, and the viewers will feel it when they look at your work. The image coming out of your processing software might be more pleasing, but if you manipulate your original image too much, it will also lose something. The problem is that cameras stopped being art creating tools. And they've become tools for data collection. That progression was slow. It was also almost imperceptible. At the heart of the digital revolution stood the shortening of pipelines. You could shoot a photograph and minutes later it could be published in electronic form for the entire world to see. Initially, cameras were made to create publishable images, final images. Early digital cameras had this way of processing the data and making images that looked good, they looked right. But as cameras got more megapixels, as dynamic range increased, it became less and less important. Photographers themselves preferred to process their photos on a large computer screen. They stopped trusting their cameras to provide the final results that they would send. They felt that the personal voice could be expressed by managing those aspects of contrast and color. And manufacturers were more than happy to delegate that task of creating a pleasing final result to the users of their cameras. Some manufacturers, such as Fujifilm and Leica, still put a lot of effort in creating nice-looking results in the camera itself. Others do not bother anymore. They reached a final look and they're not trying to improve on it. Comparing JPEG files from cameras like the early Nikon D700 or even the D4 to results coming from the Nikon ZF, the camera that is shooting me now, will clearly show you the difference. Those photographs coming from early digital cameras look much more polished, more ready to publish, ready to use than images coming from new cameras. Now, I'm not saying the output of the ZF and the other modern cameras is bad, but it is more generic. It has less character. There's much more effort put in the older models. The only exception might be professional cameras that are designed to spit out ready-to-use photos. Cameras such as the D4S that I own still made very nice JPEGs. Images coming from them are very easy to process. I still shoot RAW because I don't trust the camera's decisions in guessing the correct color temperature in a scene. So white balance would need some correction, some adjustment. But in general, those images are almost ready to be shown. They are polished, they are finished. To me, Post-processing is a waste of time. I don't use it as much as most of the photographers do. All I do is some white balance corrections and some manipulations to the exposure, to the brightness. Sometimes the shadows need a slight lifting. Sometimes the highlights need some restraining. I do not use any lens corrections post exposure because I want the characteristics of my lenses to come through in the photograph. I do not want to erase those gentle brush strokes that give the photos some personality, some flavor. I don't sharpen my images more than the camera already does. I don't remove noise because cameras have become too clean, too smooth. I feel that images need some tactile quality. They need to have some texture. So I like some grain to contaminate my images. Of course, I do acknowledge the great impact post-processing can have on the appearance of images. But to me, it's a waste of time. I would much rather let the camera and the glass determine the visual characteristics of my images, their appearance. You might have noticed it, but there is something missing from this list of unfair advantage categories. There is no mention of newer, more capable, more modern gear. Because I don't think it gives you an unfair advantage or a practical advantage of any type. Cameras have long surpassed the point where they contribute to your photography. Newer cameras can collect more data, perhaps more accurately, but it won't have any impact on the quality of your work, on your ability to express emotion, to invoke some response in the viewer. In fact, the more modern your gear is, the more generic your photographs will look. Modern lenses have this quality of neutrality. They do not give your photographs any character. They are designed to be as transparent as possible. Cameras do not differ from one another so much anymore. It's all a wasteland of clinical perfection. Images are less characterful. They are bland. Modern gear is designed to create results that are ready for post-processing, not publishable photographs. You need to put more work. You need to invest in processing power on your computer, in storage space. The process of making a photograph is only a small segment of the entire pipeline of achieving the final polished photograph you want to create. The advantage of digital photography has always been the immediacy between taking a photograph and sharing it, publishing it. But I feel that the whole process has become less efficient. Manufacturers and the internet will have you believe that it is progress. But is it really? I think that will be all for today. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful to you in any way, if it made you think differently, please consider buying me a coffee. It's a nice gesture between gentlemen. You will find the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again soon.